Hi, my name's Derek James, and this is Leys Matters Radio, where you're going to hear about everything that is going to be taking place on the Leys that's going to help people move ahead in careers. So if you're between the ages of 11 and 17 years of age, if you are a parent who has a child that's between the ages of 11 and 17 years of age, then I think everything you're going to hear in the next however long this radio show lasts for is going to be of interest to you. Blackbird Leys was set up in 1957, so the estate is now 60 years of age, and what we're looking to do in this presentation is kind of like, we'll be talking about a few things that have happened in the past of Blackbird Leys, but really what we're about is looking to the future. There are people on Blackbird Leys who have been talent spotted by some of the biggest agencies, fashion agencies, modeling agencies in the world. There are people who have been flown from England to America to audition for some of the biggest record labels in the world. There was once upon a time on the Blackbird Leys a martial arts team, taekwondo team, headed by a man by the name of Gerald Dash. And because taekwondo wasn't part of the Olympics at the time, the people who were part of the Blackbird Leys taekwondo team, who were all world-class level participants in the world of martial arts, didn't get a shot. Now I want you to understand this. There's a guy by the name of Ki Ha-ri. He's the guy that brought taekwondo from Korea to England, and he made a statement to the teacher in Blackbird Leys. He said, listen, if I had to choose the best people from Korea to go against the best team from Blackbird Leys, I would be hard pushed to see who I think would win. So with that opening, I want you to understand this, that there are a lot of people in Blackbird Leys that have got talent to do great things, and there are new openings that are coming up, and we're looking to bring a number of these openings to Blackbird Leys. So with that, I'm going to open up this presentation with a long-time youth worker from Blackbird Leys who's going to give you some ideas about some of the history in Blackbird Leys, and we're going to be speaking about some of the things that are going to be up and coming that you as a parent or you as a child might want to take notice of. So with that, I'm going to bring you bring the mic to a guy by the name of Robert Evans, who was a former councillor for Oxford City Council. And well, Robert, what is it that you want to say to the people of Blackbird Leys, and what's going to be your opening statements?
Hi. Firstly, Leys Matters is about anybody who works on the community, anybody who lives on the community, or anybody who supports the work of people on the community. It's open to everybody.
Okay, Rob, so what would you say is going to be the first thing that you're going to look to contribute to this radio presentation? Because really, this is the first one for Leys Matters. What is it that you want to bring to the attention of people that live on the Leys?
As Derek said, this is the first radio pod. But what we're doing is promoting the 1st of December, which is a youth event for young people aged 11 to 17 and their parents to come and talk about what their needs are and what their wants are. Because if you don't tell us, we can't make it happen. From that will come events, from that will come platforms, from that will give opportunities. And we're going to run lots of different events. We're going to have podcasts on different subjects. We're going to try and tackle the issues that are important for you, the community, young people, and parents from the Leys estate. Okay, now I'm going to ask Robert to kind of bring out some points with regards to the statement that he's just made. But I want you to, I'm going to give, or I'm going to paint a picture of Robert Evans. I'm not going to paint the whole portrait, just going to give you an idea of something that took place a number of years ago. And I think if I wind the clock back maybe 25 years ago, because I think that that's going to be kind of like the catchment age of some of the people that were involved with the project that Robert helped bring into being. There was a group of young guys called the Hard Shoulder Crew. And they were into body popping, and when that was kind of like the vogue a number of years ago, and Robert put together an initiative that got these guys to, one, be able to perform, two, able to raise money as a small dance group, as a business. They got to perform in all the colleges, but more importantly, I think they got to perform around Europe. So there are a number of European countries on. I'm going to ask you to name some of the countries that you took this group to. But if you're looking for your children to do stuff that is kind of like out of the norm, then the idea is to bring those agendas to December the 1st meeting at, where's the first meeting going to be? The first meeting is going to be in the Jack Arden Centre in Blackbird Leys Community Centre. Okay, now,
tell us a bit about the Hard Shoulder Crew before we go on to this Jack Argent meeting on the 1st of December.
Well, Derek knows I'm embarrassed to talk about my history and the history of Hard Shoulder, but to say that we were a group of young men and women who approached me saying they wanted somewhere to practice their body popping and breakdancing. And from that, what we did was to open the youth club on an extra day, and they used to come there and train and improve their routines. And from that, they then decided that they wanted to tour Europe. And so we needed money, and they decided that if they taught breakdancing and body popping in the school colleges in Oxford, they can get money from that to then buy their uniforms and then travelling around Europe. And we went to Luxembourg, Belgium, France, Switzerland and Italy.
Okay, now that's a very short history. The body popping group was also able to get sponsorship from one of the major sports brands, which I'm going to ask you about in a moment. But what you also heard there was that the group of dancers were able to raise their own money. There's an organisation that, well, Beverly Harry runs the Miss P Foundation. The Miss P Foundation started in 2009, if I've got my dates right. And what they did was they put on an event which was to raise money specifically for Beverly's daughter, who wanted to go to one of London's leading dance academies. After they raised the money for Beverly's daughter to go to this dance academy, Erdang, what then took place every year and has been taking place every year since then has been a regular annual fundraiser that then takes money and gives it to dance people that are interested in dance from Oxfordshire. And so the initiative that was started in 2009 was then able to put money into other dancers who wanted to go on to further education and further what they wanted to do with regards to their dreams. Now, what Robert did as a kind of small pet project how many years ago is kind of like in the same type of vein. But the point is this. With us going through austerity in 2008 and with us moving into Brexit now, and with a number of the arts budgets being cut from a number of projects, how you can go about raising money for your children who may want to, who have got some kind of huge ambition, is going to be a main part of what Leys Matters looks at. I'm not saying it's the only thing that what Leys Matters looks at, but the point that I'm making here is you now can start thinking in terms of possibilities, looking at the bigger horizon that your children may have for themselves that you may not know how to bring into being. And you can find people at the Leys Matters Forum on the 1st of December who can help you put together the agendas that are going to help your children move in the direction of the dream that they have for themselves. Now, with that, Robert, on the 1st of December, can you tell us who are going to be some of the people that are going to be on the forum where people can ask questions of and then get direction posts from?
On the 1st, there's going to be politicians, there's going to be people who have their own companies, there's going to be social workers, there's going to be education workers, teachers, people who help you look for your first step towards something else. It's not going to give you the end product, because that's not what we're about. What we're about is you highlighting what you need to go to where you want to be. Okay, so with that, and I'm going to use the Hard Shoulder Cruise as an example, because two of my brothers were in that how many years ago, is that what you're doing is you're setting something up, or what the Leys Matters forum is about is giving people a place where they can go. And with social media, so we've now got Facebook, we've now got Twitter, we've now got YouTube. With social media platforms, you can place your questions, say, look, this is what you're after, with the hope that somebody on the team, on the panel, can then give you the pointer in the right direction. Yes, and it might be we can't do it the first time. It might be that you tell us what you want, and it might be 6 or 7 or 10 sessions down the road before we can start to shape what you want into a product that you like. Okay, now I'm going to give you a bit of a background to something that I'm involved with so that we can see how the Leys Matters Foundation or the Leys Matters Forum can help you. I actually have a business where what I'm involved with is multimedia. Now, I'm going to try and do a very quick crash course kind of, this is how it works. Now, I think it was in about the year 2000. I was working for, as a consultant for a company called, or as a trust called the Hamilton Trust. The Hamilton Trust
a lot of the schools in Oxfordshire use Hamilton Trust materials. So a group of very smart educators got together. They got a bunch of sponsorship from a big computer company, and they then went into schools and found ways in which they could put together the resources that would help children learn mathematics faster, learn English faster, and so on. And what my job was with the Hamilton Trust was to find a way in which I could make the Hamilton Trust have high-level multimedia resources for cheaper. And so I wasn't there to charge them a lot of money. What I was there to do was facilitate them moving into the world of multimedia so they could have high-level audio cassettes, CDs, CD-ROMs in a way where the production costs weren't going to be so how to put it, prohibitive. A lot of agendas that parents have for their children is about knowing not just what it is you want, but how can you do it in a way where the approach you're taking makes it possible for you to get something that other people can't. So there's a guy by the name of Martin who was a performer at this year's Miss P Foundation fundraiser. Small guy, 10 years old, very good actor. I'm putting together for him a show reel where he's going to be in a kind of Jurassic Park situation. The show reel, if he was going to go and ask somebody to make that for him, so he's going to go to the Yellow Pages and find a production company in London to make that for him, they'd be saying, oh, that's going to cost you £10,000. Now, a 10-year-old ain't got £10,000 for a show reel. I'm able to make that because I have the multimedia skills, and I know this is how you can do this in a cheaper way. And when you see the end result, where you're going to get a notification from that by looking at the Facebook post that's going to be on, and you'll be able to look at the video on YouTube. Now, I'm not going to say it's Jurassic Park because you can't do Jurassic Park for £10, and you can't do the high-level multimedia effects of a Jurassic Park for £10, but you can do something that is good enough to give somebody who is 10 the ability to get in front of an agent who will say, yes, we like what you do, we can see what you do, because you're giving somebody the means by which they can show what they're capable of within the context of having a show reel that is going to be contemporary. So he never got a chat. Martin isn't somebody who has been on a TV show, and there's a lady that I know who lives in Oxford, Amantha. She's been on the BBC. She's been in The Bill, EastEnders, and a number of high-profile TV soaps. She's somebody that I can work with, and I can say, listen, how can we get somebody in front of an agent? Because she's been down that road, she knows how to tell you exactly what to do. And part of that what to do process is having a show reel that is TV standard. Now, by giving Martin a show reel that is TV or movie standard, he can now audition for parts because he's got something that can show what he can do. He hasn't had to pay £10,000 for it. And in like manner, there are people that are on the Blackbird Leys forum who will be able to come up with the agendas, the shortcuts, or the insider way of doing things that you might not be able to think about. Now, I'm going to put you back onto Robert because I know that he's going to be speaking about the Facebook page and what he sees the Leys Matters Facebook page being for you.
There are two things. Sorry, I said two. There's a number of things. The Facebook page is about find out some of the people who are going to be working with Leys Matters. So people can choose if they want to do a Facebook page, and mine's there and Derek's will be there. There are also things like Leys Matters will take on issues such as domestic violence, oppression, the rise of the right, and we will do podcasts around that, and we also do sessions around that. So if a group of young people said, we want to know more about being mixed race, we can do a session around that. If they come and say, how do I challenge racism? We can do sessions on that. If they say, how do I become better as a team player? We can do sessions around that. I think you have to understand that you come to us and say, this is what I want to do, and we will give you the tools to be able to achieve some of your objectives, or tell you where to go to achieve your objective.
Okay, now with that, I'm going to pick up on some of the things, because Robert just mentioned about showing people how to be a better team player. And there's a competition that we're going to be looking to run on a regular basis, and the competition is called Who the Shoe Fits. It's a monthly competition for those who are between the ages of 11 to 17. Now, if you look at the poster that would be on the Facebook page. It says possibly the wildest competition in the world where everybody can win. Now, most people think, well, how can you have a competition where everybody can win? Well, it's really simple to understand. If you are from an organisation in Oxford, and when I say an organisation where the participants are between the ages of 11 and 17, so you could be part of a football team, you could be part of a dance school, you could be part of a music club where, groups and so on get together. If you, as a member of that organisation, choose somebody from that organisation who could be helped by winning a prize that is going to be a regular prize on the Leys Matters page, then you nominate somebody who you think is the best in your club who could use this prize. So in the case of Martin, I said there's a 10-year-old boy. He's going to be getting a show reel that is going to be Jurassic Park standard. Okay, now it's not a complete film. It's just enough for him to show people that when he does an audition, that he can act. Now, let's just say that there's a prize that's going to be for a band. And the band wants a music video. Most people, when looking to get a music video, can't afford £20,000 to pay someone to do a professional music video. Now, there was a competition I was going to run with the BBC a number of years ago. It didn't actually happen because there were some requirements that I needed to fulfill for the BBC. But the competition prize was going to be for them to get a music video where it would make it look like you were in New York. Okay. If you nominate the best band for that, then what might happen is this. A band gets a music video where it looks like they're in New York, using that as an example. They can then be able to be auditioned or sent to record labels. Now, I've got a cousin who happens to be one of England's biggest, most successful music label executives. Now, I'm not saying that everything's going to go through my cousin, far from it, because I don't believe I'm pulling on favours. But what I'm saying is that if you can get something in front of somebody who can make a decision, a career decision, the only way that project is going to work is if you nominate the best person, the best band for that opening. Trying to take the opening for yourself when you are not the best person. One, in terms of a competition, if there are a number of organisations throughout Oxfordshire, then the less likely is you're going to win if you put people forward who haven't got a chance of winning it. But the people that then have the promo that is made that can then be submitted to a record label, if they get a record deal, then what record companies do is they say, well, where did this talent come from? And they'll go to the same school to see if they can find more of the same. So the reason why you can have a competition where everybody wins is a simple concept to understand. It's simple. If you nominate the best people in your team or in your arena, in your area, and that person wins, the likelihood of other people winning in their slipstream is also possible. Now, I'm going to put you back to Robert, because Robert's going to be speaking about a volunteers program. I'm going to be speaking about that as well, but Robert's going to tell you about a volunteers program that is going to be great for you that are parents who may want to be volunteers to help your children do something, or you that are younger people that might want to be involved with volunteering because it's going to help you get the type of career that you want. Robert, what have you got to say about volunteers?
Well, there's two things. One is I suffer from dyslexia, and I didn't know that until recently because I've always worked with people who could do my typing and my work for me. So I give them my ideas and my vision, and they would translate into a way that people could understand it. Now, when we're talking about volunteers, for me, volunteers come in at least two levels. One is people who have just got time to come and help you organise the room. So help put the tables out, put the chairs out, put them away afterwards. There are other people, like a group of women I met recently, a couple of years ago. I said, why don't you come and do some volunteering work in the youth club? And they said, oh, we can't do that because we have no skills. And I said, but between you, you've got 8 children, and you also manage a girls' football team. Now, years later, one of the girls from that football team is now manager of the Reading girls' football team, and they're in the league, in the same league at Liverpool, Manchester United, people like that. Also, those women went on to work for me for a number of years, and they did things like they went rock climbing, they went camping, they did trampolining. And these women are saying, well, they have no skills. If I don't know about you, but anybody can do those sort of things, certainly I want them as my team. So if you want to be a volunteer and able to give a couple of hours per month, then we'd like to hear from you. And just go on the page and send us an email.
Okay, now I want to take the idea of volunteering into another realm or into another dynamic. If you happen to be involved with or have some understanding of the world of skateboarding, then the skateboard community in Oxford, I would say that I think that they've got some like about a 30-year history in Oxford in terms of when the first skateboard ramp was put up and so on. In terms of dates, there are some of you out there that can actually give me some clarification with that. But there's a guy from Oxford by the name of Tom Penny. Anybody, you can just type Tom's name up. Tom Penny is one of the world's best skateboarders, and he comes from Oxford. He was helped to the world of international skateboarding through people that were his friends who were volunteers. And what I mean by that is this: before Oxford had its skateboard park, which is now situated in Jackdaw Lane, there was a temporary one that was in Blackbird, Leys. My brother was one of the people that helped build the skateboard park. And if you know of the shop SS20 down the Cowley Road, or which is no longer there now, which is owned by Mon Barber, there is a community of skateboarders who all got together. And so when you think of volunteering can have a number of hats. But volunteering can have the end result of helping somebody become a Tom Penny. In other words, your volunteering locally can put somebody on the international map. And again, using Tom's story, that is something that has come to mind simply because what we're doing with the Leys Matters webpage, and what we're doing with the Leys Matters Facebook page is giving you the ability to see people who can be a future Tom Penny, but you're able to now plot their rise to success as they're moving in the right trajectory. So 25 years ago, 30 years ago, there was no such thing as social media, did not exist. Most people do not know that there was a guy by the name of Gerald Dash based in Blackbird, Leys, who taught one of the world's best, created one of the world's best, developed one of the world's best martial arts team. Everybody knew Jerry's taekwondo team, and in fact, if you came from Blackbird, Leys and you wore that badge, everybody was scared of you as soon as they saw you walk into a club with that badge, because they thought you were a Jedi. When we look at, say, Tom Penny, who comes from Jericho, worked with people from Blackbird, Leys, where they were building this skateboard ramp, it was something that most people don't know, that there was a bunch of guys in Blackbird, Leys who built a skateboard ramp, who used to use the Blackbird, Leys church and its bowl, where they would climb up on the church and use that to actually practice their skateboarding when there was no such thing as a skateboard park. That history is something that most people don't know about. But where we are today, and as said before, or I'll bring this up now, there's a girl in Blackbird, Leys who was talent spotted by one of the world's biggest modelling agencies. What we're going to be doing with this Facebook page is using the Facebook page to document the history of those people that have had these openings, and these openings are starting to bring them into new worlds. You volunteering can actually help put different people on the map, because they've got a skill that maybe with your volunteering could be the difference between them having a skateboard ramp, if we're going to use the parallel, to practice on, that then gives them an international career, and them not having a skateboard ramp, where your involvement in building something is the reason why somebody who is a nothing becomes a something. Now, with that, Robert, what is it you're going to look to continue this presentation with?
What we want is people to come forward. On the 1st of December, we're expecting young people between 11 and 17 to come to the event. We're expecting parents, or those people who are supported to the Blackbird, Leys community. We want you to come, offer your skills, be part of one of the workshops, and get involved.
Okay, now with that, I want to put, because Robert said about a group of women who said that we haven't got any skills, we can't be involved. And then Robert said, well, you do this, 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 and this. So it's obviously you've got skills. There's a lady by the name of Kathleen Kennedy. You may not know who she is, but I'm going to give you a bit of a history so that you can say, wow, my little thing can become something big. Okay. So Kathleen Kennedy, she was somebody who, she was a secretary, no more, no less. So you turn back the clock, say 30, 40 years, and at the time, so there was no such thing as word processing, there was no such thing as the internet, no such thing as computers as we know them today. So Kathleen Kennedy as a secretary would be somebody who would take notes on a pad and would then type those up on a typewriter, not a word processor, because 40 years ago they didn't exist. So being a secretary isn't that glamorous, it's not that great. You know, you're taking notes, you're sending people's letters, and that's all it is. You fast forward the clock 40 years, and Kathleen Kennedy is now one of the world's biggest, most famous, and most influential film producers on the planet. Because she manages Star Wars, and there's this other thing that she manages, which if you're a film fan, you will know the name. Because outside of Star Wars, she is somebody who manages all of George Lucas's brands that have been sold to Disney. Kathleen Kennedy, as a secretary, because she would be writing all the letters, she was the person who was on the inside track of everything that George Lucas was doing. And when it became time, now throughout the years, she moved from being a secretary to being a production assistant, and she would work with another guy by the name of Steven Spielberg, and she would be involved with some of Steven Spielberg's projects as a production assistant. So she started as a secretary, moved to production assistant, was working with George Lucas because that's where she was working. And when they then got to the point where George Lucas said, oh, it's time for me to retire, I don't want to do this film thing anymore, the person who they said was going to be the best suited to take on board Star Wars and bring it into the future was going to be Kathleen Kennedy, because she was there at its birth. But she started as a secretary. So the point that I'm actually making here is this, is that if you are somebody who is looking to grow in a career, you want something to move into, volunteering can be good if you are working with the projects that are going to grow. Earlier on, I spoke about Gerald Dash. He was somebody who developed on Blackbird Leys, one of the world's most successful martial arts clubs. But at the time, 40 years ago, there was no such thing as taekwondo being in the Olympics. Okay, I've told you about somebody who on Blackbird Leys was talent spotted as a model by one of the world's biggest talent agencies. I've told you about, well, there's somebody who I know from Blackbird Leys who was flown from England to America to audition for one of the world's biggest record labels, and we can go on with story after story of people who have been at and in terms of the early part of their career, have had openings come to them from some of the biggest organizations in the world. As a volunteer with the Leys Matters program, you'll get to see a lot more of these stories in terms of their fledgling birth, and where they're going to end up to, we don't know. As said, Tom Penny is possibly one of the world's biggest skateboarders. But earlier on, Robert spoke to you about a project that he used to run. And the project came from a group of guys in Blackbird Leys 25 years ago plus, who were known as the Hard Shoulder Crew. What Robert didn't finish to tell you in the story was that the Hard Shoulder Crew was sponsored by one of the world's biggest sports brands. So we all know Puma, we all know Adidas, we all know Kappa, we can go on with all of the sports brands. And the Hard Shoulder Crew was sponsored by one of the world's biggest sports brands. But the point is this, if you were the secretary writing those letters, then you would know how to put together the sponsorship agreements that can then bring in the funds for a project in Oxford that you have an interest in, that your child may be involved with. And so I'm not saying that you're going to become the next Kathleen Kennedy, but the point is that the volunteering experience that you are involved with, that you get by being involved with the projects around the Leys Matters universe that you will be seeing on the Leys Matters Facebook page, could give you all of the work experience you need to get the type of job that you want in an industry sector that you may want to be involved with, that without the volunteering you could never get the experience to then say, this is what I do and this is what I can actually deliver to your company. Now with that, Robert, I know that you've got another subject that you want to talk about, which is the events. But what we're going to do is, I want you to think about this whole idea of volunteering, because volunteering is not about you giving up hours of your time. I think that volunteering should be, one, purposeful, but it should also be reciprocal. In other words, you can actually measure what you're going to get when you contribute time to an organisation. So with that, I'm going to put you over to Rob, because he's going to give you what he believes is the definition of what Leys Matters is.
So finally, Derek, I believe Leys Matters is an opportunity for people who live on the Blackbird estate, support people from the Blackbird estate, or want to support people from the Blackbird estate, to put on events, podcasts, to do issues such as domestic violence, challenge oppression, talk about issues that relate to women, be a voice for the community. Get involved, come and see us on the 1st of December, or write to us through Facebook, or listen to our product on Leys Pod.
Okay, and that I think that really kind of like brings it to a head. So we've got the social issues, we've got the career development issues, and between the social issues and the career development issues, we're hoping that everything that you need to find your first steps in the direction of the dream that you have for yourself, or the dream that your children have for themselves, can actually be accomplished by joining the Leys Matters team. So with that, this is Derek James and Robert Evans bringing this session to a close, and we'll look to see you on the 1st of December 2017, which is a Friday evening, 6:30 to 8:30, the Blackbird Leys Community Centre, the Jack Argent Room. Be there, turn up, you'll see the people with the name badges, and just approach somebody with the title over them with regards to the area that you are looking to find further development with. So with that, this is Derek James and Robert Evans signing off. See you guys soon.
Bye, thank you.